Welcome to the NY to M Day podcast with Brian and Kevin. This is Forrest Gump for the day. Taking over. Let's go. Jenny. Peas and carrots. Mama.
Woo! Man, let me tell you, man, the NY to MD podcast is like a box of chocolates, man.
You never know what you're going to get. Could be more music. Yeah, man. Welcome on into the NY to MD podcast. Kevin Hurt, Brian Schwartz here on Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
Trying to save the planet one plastic bottle at a time.
That's right.
Thank you for tuning in on StreamYard, YouTube, subscribe to Mike. Well, of course, we're also on all the socials. I don't know about Twitter. Twitter's just becoming annoying. But we're on Facebook, IG, and Twitter. As well as Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Hold on. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find everybody in the podcast. Go.
Did you purchase your blue check, Hurt?
He said he's paying for some celebrities. Like he's paying for LeBron's blue check, as he should. So everybody lost theirs. It's trash. But he's trash. I'm sorry. I'm not buying a Tesla. I don't care about no Tesla. The dude's trash. I don't like how the new format is. I just don't like Twitter.
What better way, Hurt, to celebrate Earth Day than buying a Tesla, an electric car, which helps save the environment?
Yeah, to buy an electric car from somebody else. That would be the best way. Now, real quick, folks, before the show, I was talking about how my battery for my iPad was out, right?
Yeah.
So I literally just plugged it in. Guess where the starting battery life was?
42%.
63.
Okay.
How do you not? I mean, literally just plugged it in. How do you go from the picture of like the battery?
Yeah.
It was down like real low to 63 in a minute.
Yeah, you need a new battery or a new iPad. Yo.
I need a new iPad. Now it is like 5 years old or so. So yeah, I think going on 6, but still.
Yeah, that battery is yeah.
Yeah, that battery is like, well, you know what? It's not like Lieutenant Dan. So
Oh gosh.
But yeah, dude, we have a lot of sports to talk about. I'm not gonna waste any more of Forrest's time or ours. There's a lot of sports here on this Saturday. NFL, NBA, MLB. But first, I think we'll probably end with the NFL because there's a lot going on, and the draft is coming up this week. So I do want to start out with MLB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to start the playoffs. That'll be second because there's a lot of stuff going on there. But I think the biggest the biggest news, out of a pretty good news week out of MLB, besides your team doing well and my team doing well, both of us in second place, I believe. It is there's a team who purchased, I guess, a plot of land in Las Vegas, and maybe could be on the move. And we are talking about one team who used to be known as the Philadelphia Athletics, then became the Oakland Athletics, and they could be going to Vegas. It sounds like somebody dribbling a really hard basketball outside, so I didn't know what was going on. So Oakland could be moving. Give me your thoughts on this and your idea that you came up with.
No, it wasn't an idea, but
No.
Well, first of all, it's about time. That the city of Oakland, I feel like, has taken for granted its sports teams for too long. You know, the Warriors moved out of the city. You know,
They moved across the bay, basically.
Yeah. The Raiders moved to Vegas, and now Oakland, they're going to go to Vegas too. And I kind of feel bad for the city, but I feel like, like, what wasn't Oakland doing to keep these teams around? You know what I mean? Like,
nothing.
And it's not like they didn't have a long time to try to get it right or to try to you know what I mean? Like, how many times did like Oakland leave? You know what I'm saying? Did the Raiders leave and go to LA? Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just it's kind of I feel sad, but I kind of don't because I feel like they should have did something to prevent this. Yeah. That being said, I don't know how the heck they're gonna play baseball in Vegas in the summertime. Good Lord. I mean, I know they'll have like a roof. I think they're gonna have a retractable roof and everything, but
I'm sure.
But no, man, look, this is the right thing, man. Like, move out of there. I mean, their stadium, it was the worst stadium in baseball next to
Tampa.
Right. And like I said, the city had plenty of chances to do something they didn't. So, hey, man, Vegas, Viva Las Vegas, man. Look, hey, you know, I love Vegas. So, hey, y'all gotta do what y'all gotta do. Now, what I was saying on the text, I think they should rebrand. I think like the Vegas Raiders kind of like fits that brand, I think. But the Athletics, you know, it's just too much. To me, it's just too tied to Oakland, the yellow and green. Not to say that they're going to do it, but it would be kind of cool that if they could just rebrand, like rename the city, new color schemes, just to fit.
That's crazy.
Like, you know, yeah, just to fit that Vegas vibe. You know, that's all I was saying. I mean, like I said, the likelihood of it, I mean, it's not going to happen, but it's just going to be weird seeing that team like the Raiders fit. You know what I mean? They got the all black stadium. You know what I'm saying? At Allegiant Stadium,
green and yellow stadium. I mean, they have the Aces. You have the Raiders, and you had the Las Vegas A's. I have no issue with the Las Vegas Athletics or the Las Vegas A's. Growing up, they were one of my favorite teams. They were my favorite American League team, by far. Mark McGuire, Canseco, Carney Lansford, Walt Weiss, who who's from Rockland County, where I grew up. Steinbeck as catcher, Dave Stewart. They had Eckersley. They had LaRusso when I liked him, I guess, right?
Yeah, right.
Dave Henderson, Ricky Henderson. That team, they had the elephant, which I don't know what it had to do with them. That was their mascot. But I had the elephant hat. Like, that was besides the Mets hat, that was my favorite hat, is that elephant hat, man. And there's not too many, and again, them, I think, and maybe Green Bay are really the only green and yellows. That's their thing. They can't change that. There's no one else that has that color scheme. That's specifically basically theirs. Like I said, theirs in Green Bay. They need to leave, though. They've been playing in a football stadium for basically their whole existence, which never fills up. Again, I don't know the whole geography of California. I just know that the Bay includes San Francisco and Oakland. Golden State still plays in the Bay Area, even though I believe there are stadiums in San Francisco. The 49ers went from San Francisco to where I forgot what it's called now. But It's not too far, but it's not like in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I think they went to like near the San Jose area, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. But I forgot what the area is specifically called, but it doesn't matter. There's other teams. I think the Clippers used to be near there. I think they might have been San Diego before they go to LA. But if you're not supporting your teams, and this is a team through, even when they were going to World Series and winning, yes, and they've had competitive teams for some reason with a budget of like my household, but it's not if you're not making anything, and they haven't, and no one shows up even when they're doing well. Like you see, the A's have winning records, and there's almost less people there than there's at Tropicana. So it's it's time. Is it sad? Yeah, because they're the Oakland A's. Like that, that was a team I grew up on. But I'm at the age now. Now saying this, my team could move to Richmond and I'd lose my mind, right? So I'm saying that and saying I understand more if people don't come support the team and the city's not trying to help you out with, again, if they're asking people, hey, I want you to pay money. I don't think people should pay money to finance stadiums. I don't think like we should have to finance. I believe that's between the owners and the city. You know what I'm saying? And the owners are billionaires. And I got to pay to go to the games anyway. So I'm not sitting here putting stuff in some taxes to bring somebody here. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but the economic value that it brings to the city is really good. The economic impact. So you know what I'm saying? By having the Orioles and the Ravens here, it just brings such this impact in economic impact to the city. I for me, I don't mind it.
But I feel like that's something that's not having the Ravens here or a football team for a minute, and the O's are being such an established team that people, even though I know there's been down for a couple of years, but look at it now. You get a couple of young guys and a little bit of excitement. Camden Yards is like it's a rock concert, So it doesn't take much. But if you had Adley Rushman in Oakland, how many people are showing up?
2.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
5, his family, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, it was time. You know why it was time to move on from that?
Why?
Yo, did you hear the story that came out last week about the Oakland Coliseum?
Mm-mm.
So there was the visiting. I forgot what team was playing them, but the visiting team's broadcast team couldn't even broadcast their games there because of a possum problem that the stadium was having. These possums have been living in the stadium for like over a year, and they basically defecated all over the place. Like, come on, man! This is 2023.
This is the best story ever. Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
You know what? Guess what their new name should be?
The
Vegas Possums. Now that would be a scary mascot. Forget the elephant. Man, I don't know why somebody or a school isn't named the Possums, by the way. Because those things, listen, raccoons, especially rabbit raccoons, are dangerous. We've seen raccoons fight. I had a raccoon taunt my dog. I literally outside the window, looking at my dog like, yeah, whatever. I'm eating this, whatever I'm eating, and I'm looking at you. Like, I'll take you out. Possums are like moving furry skeletons. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised there's no team named the Possums, man. Wow, I did not know that. But yeah.
To make this story even better, Hurt, check this out. I didn't realize this, but this is your team. Oakland Coliseum possum droppings force Mets announcers to move broadcast.
That's my team. When did we even play? Oh, we did play them this past week.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude.
That's how awful their stadium is.
Wow.
But the thing is, this isn't a new problem. This wasn't a new problem. So it's time to go to Vegas. Take the Possums with you.
No, yeah, leave the Possums there. The Possums ain't making no bets. Okay, they need to stay. They need to stay there.
Yeah, man. So yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Speaking of, since you brought up my team, since we're playing Oakland, um, wow, I had no idea. That's oh man.
That was
And
like the last
games
straw.
are on late at night. I'm not staying up to watch it.
Yeah.
No matter how quickly they go by, I'm not doing it. So Mets had a good week this week. We're 8-2 in our last 10, 1-3 in a row.
Okay.
Including beating, the soon-to-be former Oakland Athletics. We are a half game behind the Braves as usual because the Braves will be braving. Biggest story for us was our ace, Max Scherzer. Oh, you were gonna bring that up?
Yeah, I totally forgot. But go ahead.
Oh, you forgot? Okay, yeah. Was tossed out of a game for using rosin and sweat or something. He was checked, I think, in the second inning, and they warned him. They checked again. And he still had some kind of whatever he was using on there. And they tossed him out the game. He had a 10-game suspension, which he was going to appeal at first, and he decided to drop it. Again, I don't know. I know pitchers use things. I guess this was an exorbitant amount of stuff that he was using. But what are your thoughts on this whole scandal? Now we were doing okay. We beat the Giants since we're stuck in the Bay Area. The last two games we blanked them last night 7-0. Polar Bears leading the league MLB with 9 home runs. So we're doing okay. But what are your thoughts on Scherzer and Verlander hasn't even pitched yet?
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one has me conflicted, but I'm going to side with the umps on this one slightly, only because they gave this dude multiple warnings. Hurt, like, and that's what I keep going back to. Like, he says he did everything he could to try to clean his hands, but it's not like the umps made a rash reaction. They saw the stickiness and kicked him out. They gave him multiple warnings, and whatever he did wasn't good enough for that. Wasn't good enough for them. It wasn't, and it didn't satisfy them, and they felt it was too sticky. The umps came out and said, this is some of the stickiest that they've seen since they've been checking pitchers. So, and it must have been bad if they suspended him 10 games. Like, I didn't see a suspension coming. What are your thoughts on it?
This is the third Scherzer's the third pitcher suspended since the crackdown on sticky substances started in June 2021. Two other pitchers, Seattle's Hector Santiago and Arizona's Caleb Smith, were both suspended, and they received 10-game penalties. All three inspections that led to the suspension involved one umpire, Phil Cuzzy.
Right.
Yeah. Cuzzy determined after the second inning that Scherzer's hand was stickier and darker than normal and ordered Scherzer to wash his hand, which Scherzer said he did with alcohol while an MLB official watched. After the third inning, he determined the pocket of his glove was sticky, likely too much rosin, and he ordered Scherzer to change gloves. The umpire then checked the 38-year-old again before the fourth inning, and his hands were even worse than before. And they tossed him.
I mean, like I said, multiple warnings. I don't, what
Grace, what do you think?
Yeah, So it sucks, but they warned this dude. Like, they warned him. Like, how many times do they have to warn him? You know what I mean? So
I put it like this: if the Mets didn't put up a huge fight, which they didn't, and my manager, which you know who he is,
right,
Buck, didn't go out there and get tossed and start arguing and whatever, then it's something that they couldn't really fight.
Yeah. And Buck is a veteran players coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, he loves his vets. He backs his vets.
His vets, but not in the offseason, not during the season. Not Pete Rose and anybody. So
yeah. So I'm assuming there was something to this, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So how are your O's this week, Mike?
Yeah, man, the O's they're doing pretty good. But if the O's are so first of all, they had a streak going, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had a streak going where they hadn't allowed a run since Sunday. Since last Sunday. Since the first Grayson Rodriguez gave up 4 runs against the White Sox last Sunday. and the Orioles let up their first run in the 9th inning yesterday, man. So they had I think maybe 26 straight innings or something like that of not allowing a run. They had 2 straight shutouts. Yesterday would have been their 3rd straight shutout, but they gave up a run with 2 strikes. In the bottom of the 9th, the score a run, but they wound up walking it off in the bottom of the 9th to win. But it's funny. The Orioles, it's funny, man. It was like the season starts, we're not going to cover off the ball. Still winning games, but we were giving up like tons of runs a game. Like, man.
Yeah, like 9. You were averaging like 9 runs.
Yeah. And we were like, man, if this starting pitching could just get it together, you know what I'm saying? Then we'd really be cruising. So then the pitching's been great, but we won 1-0 against the Nats. Then we beat them, I think, 4-0 the night before. We were winning 1-0 in the 9th last night until we blew it and came back. So, and we beat Chicago. I think that was. Oh no, that wasn't a shutout. But anyway, so I say all that to say I hate it, man, when the pitching and the hitting aren't in sync. It seems like with the Orioles, they either hit well and give up runs, or they pitch well and can't score runs. But it's never, they score a lot and they pitch well. It's never in sync. But we are in 2nd place right now with 12-7.
Yeah.
Haven't
2 losses since the 10th of April.
Yeah. We're in the toughest division in baseball. All the teams are above 500 in our division. So, but we're in 2nd place. The pitching is starting to come around. So, look, things are looking up, man.
And look, 2 against Detroit, then 3 against Boston at home. Then on the road for 4 at Detroit and 3 against Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about it should be padding the record. And then after that, you have 3 games where I would be rooting for you a lot. Really, really a lot.
Them Braves.
Facing Atalanta at wherever they play at nowadays for 3 games. So, which is cool. And Sunday, the game's on Peacock on the 7th against the Braves.
Oh.
So NBC Peacock. So, okay. Our game is on Fox today, 4 p.m. against the Giants. It's the national game of the week, as it should be, because, we're the Mets.
Ooh. And the Giants stink, by the way.
No one cares about them at all. But, once Buster Posey left, that's what happened. And Bumgardner left and went to Arizona, who's having a pretty good season, and they designated him for assignment, I believe.
Yep.
The Bumgardner. The constant Bumgardner. That's our MLB update. So since we're in the early stages of baseball, we got a long way to go before we reach the playoffs. The NBA is in the midst of their playoffs, of course. A lot of stuff happening this week, some controversies, some injuries. They played a little bit of Kirk Franklin this week with some stomp. What was your biggest takeaway from the week? Before we go through everything, Milwaukee, big injury with them, but they're 1-1 with the Heat. Game 3 is today at 7:30 at Miami. Boston's 2-1 over Atlanta. Game 4 that is Sunday. Sixers over the Nets 3-0. Game 4 for them is Saturday. And Embiid is out game 4, so we'll talk about that. Knicks, Cavs 2-1 Knicks. Game 4 for them is Sunday. Western Conference, Nuggets 3-0 over Timberwolves. Could care less. We're not talking about that at all. Lakers 1-1 over the Grizzlies. We got to talk about Ja. Sacramento and Golden State. Got to talk about the stomp and Sacramento as well. Let me see who else we got. Phoenix and Clippers 2-1. Injuries there as well with Kawhi missing some time. And that's what we got so far. So where do you want to start?
Well, you asked me what was the biggest takeaway from the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's real simple. The Warriors got problems. They can't, like you mentioned a couple podcasts ago, they can't win on the road for whatever reason. And I don't know what they're going to do. I thought they were going to take this series, but They cannot win on the road. And then to confound the problems, the boy Draymond, man, like he likes showing up in the playoffs and getting suspended, man.
Showing up and showing off.
Yeah. And I understand, man. His leg was being grabbed. I get that. I get it. But you don't stomp on somebody's chest, man.
I was kind of confused about how many people were defending him. Like Shaq was like, where's his foot supposed to come down? Your foot could come down, but there's the amount of force that it comes down with that was intentional or not.
Yeah, but the thing is, to me, it's still no excuse, her, because even if your foot's coming down, like you can still try to step over his chest. You understand what I'm saying? Like the dude's intentionally stomped on his chest. That's not cool, man.
That was like Christian Laettner against Duke. Against Kentucky.
Yeah, like
there was no. Yes, Sabonis had his foot. That is not. I'm not arguing that. But then his very next step, and you're coming down, you could see. We all know if somebody's there or not. You know what's going on. That was a conscious decision to come down with some force or try to get away with it.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no other way you can look at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But in saying that, the game he was suspended in, they played at home, and of course they won because they played at home. But in order for Golden State to win this series, they have to win on the road. Now, can they do it? Because Sacramento's a young team. Yeah, I'm sure they can. But Sacramento's really good at home. They took it. 126 to 123 was the first game. 114 to 106. The more comfortable the Kings get playing at home, they could beat Golden State.
Yeah.
So no matter how well Clay or whoever else plays well, or Steph, they got home court advantage means a lot in this series. So at least to Sacramento, because those fans, they'll kick out E40 in a heartbeat. So and they got 50 at the game. So we'll see. But I think that's the most intriguing because it's just the weirdest series. Even though, again, the Lakers, Memphis 1-1, Ja Morant hurt his hand, I think, the first game when he landed awkwardly and sprained his hand. So he missed that rest of the first game, which the Lakers won. Grizzlies won the second game and 103 to 93. And game 3 is tonight at 10 o'clock, which that means I'm missing it because it's at 10 o'clock. At LA. How do you see this series going?
Which one?
Rest of the way. LA and Memphis.
I'm still sticking with the Lakers. Yeah, I'm still sticking with him. Only because of the LeBron factor. I know he's an old man.
Yeah, he's old. You know what? I don't respect him until he scores 40, honestly. So if he don't score 40, I don't respect him.
Yeah. But no, I'm still expecting Lakers to pull this one out. How about you?
I think I picked the Grizzlies in this.
Yeah, you did.
Because I think the Lakers have to be perfect in order to win 4 games in this series. So, like I said, Ja's out. Memphis. The thing is, Memphis will motivate you because they can't shut up. So they'll talk trash all day. Dylan Brooks, all he does, and he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but all he does is going to talk trash. So that could just be that gives you that extra energy to try to beat them and shut them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm going to stop again. I'm going to stick with Memphis. I'm hoping the Lakers win, of course. But I want Sacramento to win, and I want the Lakers to win. The team that's gone, that's not coming back, is Minnesota. They're done and over with.
Yeah, that's
3-0. I might as well just break out a broom for that one. Phoenix and LA. We all know PG-13 is probably going to miss the series. Kawhi missed game 3. And the Suns barely won that game, 129 to 124. But it doesn't matter what the score is, matter if you win or not. The Clippers are home today, which is that's weird. They don't get a rest day because they just played last night, I thought. But all right, it is what it is. I guess I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so Saturday at LA, 3:30. Phoenix and Clippers. How do you see this series going?
I don't have any faith in the Clippers, man. They never show up for the playoffs. Kawhi's typical Kawhi. I hate to say it like that, but I mean, he's hurt again and all this stuff. Dude, they're not winning this.
Yeah, those injuries just keep mounting and mounting.
Yeah.
Over in the East, Giannis fell and hurt his back. I mean, the way he bounced. They did win that first game. I mean, they lost the first game 130, 130, 117. Bounced back to a 138, 122. Honestly, I like these scores between these two seem like they're a Western Conference game. Honestly. Game 3, of course, is today in Miami. I don't know if Giannis is playing tonight. Well, what do you see this?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go for the series. I think it gets tricky for the Bucks, man. If Giannis isn't playing, I mean Miami, they're a well coached team, man. Now, granted, they're dealing with some injuries too, but it gets a little tricky. I think. I mean, I'm still gonna pick the Bucks to come out of this series with a win, but it's not gonna be easy, especially now that it's going back to Miami. So
yeah. No. Yeah, I think Milwaukee has enough to get by Miami, but it will be tough if Giannis is going to be out for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Knicks, Cavs. Knicks played some defense yesterday. Very happy for them. I got to root for my Knicks. 99-79. Game 4. Of course, I'm sure Spike will be there on Sunday as well. Knicks, Cavs. 2-1 Knicks. Where do you see this?
I see this is going to come down to Game 7. I just see this as back and forth, like it has been. And whoever's going to win Game 7 is going to win. I'll say the Knicks will pull it out, but yeah, I think it's really going to come down to Game 7, man.
Well, congrats to the Cavs because in between podcasts, they got their first win in 25 years in the playoffs without LeBron. So, congrats to them.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
No, it's not.
They had another playoff win without LeBron?
Oh, without LeBron.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Obviously, it had to be without LeBron. Not LeBron.
Gotcha.
So, congrats to them and Cleveland. Which helped me win another one of these arguments that I had with people this week, but that's besides the point. Just want to leave the man alone. Leave the man alone. If you leave him alone, I'll leave you alone, right? Philly, Brooklyn, no need to comment about it. Even though Embiid's going to miss Game 4, this series is over.
Why is he missing Game 4?
His knee.
Okay.
But even if they don't sweep him, this series is done.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn doesn't have a shot.
Yeah, the series is done. And I think we have Atlanta and the Celtics. Even though the Celtics lost this last game, Atlanta played at home. Are we worried about the Celtics?
No, the Celtics aren't. Celtics are blowing this lead, man. They're too good defensively. You know what I'm saying? Once they get it back to Boston, they'll wrap it up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was a little bit taken aback by a lot of people defending Draymond, which is kind of hard. But
why are we defending a dude that has a track record? You understand what I'm saying?
That's why he was suspended.
Right.
I mean, he has a track record.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if this was like a first time thing, but this dude is known for doing this dirty stuff. Like, come on, man. And like I said, even if the guy, was supposed to grabbing on his leg, that still doesn't give him
the right
to stomp on his effing chest.
Exactly.
Like, why are we defending this dude?
I have no clue. All right, well, let's get to the main event. Next week, Thursday's a Thursday?
Yeah. April 27th.
NFL draft. One of the biggest events of the year. Where's it this year?
It is in Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, home of the defending Super Bowl champions. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. But in between that, the bigger news was somebody this week got pizzed. Did we talk about that already? Or was that last week?
Oh, no.
Was that this week?
Oh, no. That was this week. I knew it was something else we forgot.
Let's see. I didn't forget. I think it happened like Sunday or something. But someone, the Eagles quarterback, got some money, and his annual salary will be the highest, I think, in the NFL. His guaranteed, I believe, was around one something or other.
179.
179. We're talking about Jalen Hurts getting pizzade. Guy who's runner up for all types of MVPs, including Super Bowl, had a great Super Bowl, had a great season. And Philly put the money where their quarterback is. So before we get into the draft stuff, what are your thoughts about that? And your thoughts on how that affects your boy?
I loved it. Yeah, this news broke on Monday, by the way. So yeah, we have not talked about it. I don't know how we've forgotten about this. But
no, I mentioned it, so you forgot.
Okay. This is a great deal for Jalen Hurts. This just shows Jalen Hurts is the personification of perseverance. This dude was doubted, shot down so many times in his football career. I mean, this dude was benched at halftime
of a national championship football game.
Right.
Live TV on a Monday night.
Right.
Like, you don't know how big that is. And the cameras are on you for a freshman who balled out and actually won the game for you. But besides that, you still being benched at halftime of a national championship game after you've taken this undefeated team to this point.
Yeah.
You went the whole season undefeated, and the coach decides to take you out at halftime of a national championship game. That's a hard thing to recover from.
Right. You know, you're pretty much kicked to the curb by the team. You know, you go to Oklahoma, you excel there. In a totally different offense, you excel there. To get drafted in the second round, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about this, and I was so confused as why he was the second round draft pick. And I give you credit because you were like, he was picked. He should have been picked there. He deserved to be picked there. And we went back and forth on this one. I thought it was a reach, and you did not. You was like, no, that's exactly where he should have gone. You know, in his third year. Of course, Gracie starts moving. That's just too funny. She's like, "Hey, who's that? Is
What's that part? You know what I'm saying?
But it's funny. She's looking around trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, sure. Everybody else too. Like, what the heck?
But no, after his first 2 years, you know, people still, you know, doubting him a little bit. But I mean, of course, he had his breakout season last season. Was the runner up to MVP, and he was also, and he should have won the Super Bowl, man. I mean, he had one, you know, that penalty still pisses me off, man. I wanted to see the Eagles with a shot with the ball, but anyway.
Yeah.
So you know, he's in his third. After your third year as a quarterback, you know, you can renegotiate your contract, and he becomes the highest paid player in the history of the sport. Good for Jalen Hurts, man. Good for Jalen Hurts. He's a good dude, man. You never heard this dude complain, man.
No, he didn't complain to Alabama. Yeah. He didn't complain to Oklahoma. Right. He didn't complain being the second round pick.
Right.
He just went out and worked hard. And remember, he was behind the Carson Wentz.
Right. He was drafted to be a backup. He wasn't drafted to be the savior. They had just signed Carson Wentz to a long-term deal. And you know, it's just I love his story, man. I love his story. He did a great deal, a very team-friendly deal, but he still gets paid. So when this happens, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. But his signing got overshadowed by Lamar Jackson speculation. Okay, now that a high-end Super Bowl quarterback has been paid and did not receive a fully guaranteed contract, how does this affect Lamar? This is almost the nail in the coffin for Lamar Jackson. I mean, this is showing you that owners are not going to pay anybody, even if you're a top-level, high-level Super Bowl quarterback, you're not getting a fully guaranteed contract. So the thing is, Lamar needs to understand this. No owner, it's been crickets for Lamar. We've talked about this. It has been crickets. He has not received an offer sheet. The Ravens are still trying to negotiate with him. But to me, I say this is the nail in the coffin, because if the Eagles aren't going to give Jalen Hurts a fully guaranteed contract, what other owner will? Now, you might say the Commanders are about to be sold. Josh Harris wants to make a big splash. He might go after Lamar, but you think his first move as new owner is to ruffle feathers in the league, in the good old boys club he just joined, and give a guaranteed he's not doing that.
In the history of the other teams that he's owned, which includes the 76ers, he hasn't done it. He's built a team kind of from the ground up. So if it is him, that's how the history of how he's built those teams. And I think he's got a hockey team too or something. Maybe the Devils. I don't know. But he has other sports franchises that he's operating. But he hasn't been known to go out and do that.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think Lamar literally has one option, and that's here.
Yeah. And what's going to further be the nail in the coffin is this draft. This draft is going to be huge, man. If the Colts come out with a quarterback, if Atlanta comes away with a quarterback, if the Commanders come away with a quarterback, where is he going to go? Like, dude, where are you going to go? And I thought about this. I thought about this, like, because I keep saying, what's the end game? Because nobody wants to admit they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? I can do this without an agent. Yeah, you can, Lamar. I can do this and get my fully guaranteed deal. I'm not going to do anything unless you pay me what I want. That's not how things work, Hurt. You get paid what you are worth. You get paid what someone thinks you're worth. If you haven't received the offer sheet from any of the owners, the Ravens aren't going to just pay you a guaranteed contract, because that's not what the market says. There has been 10 QB contracts since Lamar tried to negotiate one last year. None have been fully guaranteed contracts. So at some point, he's got to say, okay, I'm not getting a guarantee. I have to negotiate a certain level of guaranteed money that I'm happy with, and leave it at that. But you're not getting you're fighting a battle you're not going to win. So here's what I think is going to happen. I'm not going to be laboring this too long, but I think the best move now for the Ravens and for Lamar is just wait. There is a deadline, this July 16th deadline. If he receives no other offer sheets, he either has three decisions. One, sign a long-term extension with the Ravens. Two, pay on a severely undervalued $32 million franchise tag for 1 year. Or three, sit out. And the last two options I mentioned don't make any sense. For him to sit out would be a terrible idea, because you're only diminishing your value. A team wouldn't see you play in over a year and a half. No one's going to pay you any money because you sat out.
Yep.
And it would be foolish of you to play this year for $32 million when you could sign 133 at signing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. He needs to change his thinking. He's not getting paid fully. He's not getting paid. Not only is not getting paid fully guaranteed, but no one's going to pay him $235 million in guaranteed money. It ain't going to happen because he's been hurt the last 2 years. No owner is going to.
I don't think, but I feel like that's the case for anybody.
Right. So, except for somebody like a Patrick Mahomes, you know what I'm saying?
But even him, I feel like will still do a deal that's friendly for the team, but will still give him what he deserves.
Right. So we'll see how this happens, but I really believe that's how this is going to end. It's going to come all the way down to the deadline, which sucks because the Ravens ideally would love to have this guy in sooner because he's got a new offensive coordinator. You got new receiver. You understand what I mean? So, but I don't think it's going to happen. So what are your thoughts on this? I'm done with my long rant.
I asked you because I don't care.
Well, what do you think of the Jalen?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, I said I loved it. I mean, I don't love it as a fan of a team in a division, but I love it for him because I felt like he deserved it. I always look at it as who are you and who are you when they try to make you better, right? So Jalen Hurts before this past season, I had him on my fantasy team. I knew what his potential could be. I've seen him in college. I know he has an arm, but can his style, because he does run a little bit. He's a tougher dude. I mean, his bench press and his leg press is ridiculous. That dude has legs like an offensive lineman. I mean, it's ridiculous. But he's strong. Like if it's 4th and 1, just get out the way. He's gonna get a first down. And now they can push the quarterback, which makes it worse. Either way, the dude's strong. So I always knew that he had the talent to make it, but then they gave him more talent, and his numbers went up because he's surrounded by better people, which is what I always say is the hallmark of a team. If you surround me, are you making me better and everybody else better? And that's what he did. So yes, he earned this money. They got to the Super Bowl. He had 1 turnover. Dude had like 4 touchdowns. Had over 300 yards. I mean, he had almost the perfect Super Bowl except for the fumble. That's it. Like that was probably one of the best played Super Bowls that we've seen. And so yeah, he deserves this money. Good for him and his family. I just wish we'd do it someplace else.
Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention too that I wanted to mention about Jalen Hurts. Much respect for him because his management team is nothing but black women, and his agents are black women, his marketing and business managers all black women, and he purposely sought this. He purposely sought out this type of representation due to the lack of black women representation in the league. They negotiated a record-breaking contract for him. The more endorsement deals are coming. So just his intention of actually trying to lift, underrepresented minorities in this field, I give him so much credit for that, man. And
he's a good dude. He's just a good dude.
Yeah, man. So I love that, man.
So good for him. So speaking of other quarterbacks who want to be represented, the NFL draft is Thursday, the 27th, in Kansas City, as you said earlier. Your team has what pick?
We have the 22nd pick.
Okay, and I think my team, Washington, has the 16th.
I thought you had the 13th pick, but I could be wrong about that.
You know what? You probably know more than I do because I'm so terrible at remembering where unless we're 1 or 2. Yeah, 16.
Okay.
Ha! I know about my team than you do, which I should,
right?
Right. Before we get the breakdown of the QBs, because obviously QB should be going number 1 to the Panthers. Who and what and why and where is your team looking for in the draft? What is the scuttlebutt of the NFL draft of the DaCosta and everybody else? What's going on?
Well, our number 1 need by far is cornerback. With the departure of Marcus Peters, we need someone to line up against Marlon Humphrey on the other side of the field. Now, we have some young corners, but our team believes that you can never have enough corners. And this draft apparently is deep in cornerback depth. The Ravens would love to draft a corner. And it's one of the top 4 corners in this draft. I don't think it's going to happen, but they would love to do it. They also need, I believe, a wide receiver. Now, Eric DaCosta, he has his record has been a mixed bag because since he took over in 2019, his very first pick as a GM was Hollywood Brown. Then a couple of years later, you draft Rashad Bateman in the first round, both of which are good receivers. Hollywood's not a true number 1, but he's been a good receiver. He wouldn't be. I'm not saying he's a bust because he's productive, but he's not a number 1. Rashad Bateman, when he's not hurt, he's very productive. So, but that being said, they're constantly trying to rebuild the receiver room. Right now, they have a good crop of receivers, especially if Odell Beckham stays healthy. But I believe they would love to get a receiver. They would also love to get some more pass rushing depth, D-line depth, O-line depth. So those are the Ravens' top needs. What about you, Hurt? What are the Commanders looking for a quarterback? Do they want to go in that direction? And if not, what are their most? What are their?
No, I don't want a quarterback. We just drafted Sam Howell last season.
He was a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, no, he was late, but it doesn't matter where you fall. What's around you? Do you believe in the guy? Anybody, again, as I said, who starts his first start and beats Dallas deserves to start the season, preseason as the number one guy. So again, we also got Jacoby Brissett as a backup. So we're not looking for that perennial number one draft guy, right? So where we're going from there, but again, like you need a corner. We need a corner as well. We're looking for cornerbacks. We also O-line. O-line is have been one of our biggest issues. We've had a lot of injuries on O-line, offensive guard, tackle positions. So in order to protect that guy that you want back there, you have to strengthen the O-line. I feel like O-line, if they want to go best available, they could get a good linebacker. But I believe that we're looking for O-line help. And I think that's where we're going to be headed at the number 16 pick on Thursday night.
Okay, cool. All right, so here's some questions I have for you. These are my biggest questions with the draft.
Mm-hmm.
First question I have for you is, who do you think will be the number one pick?
Oh, Bryce Young.
I agree. I thought when Carolina traded up the number one, they wanted to get C.J. Stroud. But in recent weeks, I'm convinced that Bryce Young is going to be the number one pick. His film is off the chart. Then when he took the S2 cognition test, apparently he blew that away, got like a 98%. So it's like they can't just pass him up. So I think he will be the number one pick. Now, my second question to follow that up is, how many QBs do you think are going to be taken in the first round?
I think 3.
3? Okay. Which 3 do you think are going to be taken?
Well, Bryce, obviously. CJ's got to go in the first round, right?
Yeah.
CJ's got to go. And somebody somewhere is going to take Anthony Richardson, in my opinion.
Anthony Richardson ain't making it out the top 10 to me.
He's going somewhere. And do I agree with it? Again, he's a project. We're talking about a guy who's more of a project. He's more of a project than he has arm strength. I saw him up close and personal at the University of Florida when they played Florida State. The guy is dangerous. To me, it's going to be the situation, the coaching staff, and do you start him his first season? And this is where he goes, honestly.
Okay. I was skeptical about Anthony Richardson, most so due to his lack of experience. But I watched there are these channels where you can watch like every throw, every snap, right?
Mm-hmm.
From that he's done from every game. And I watched like 4 or 5 games, like all the snaps. I think this dude is a lot better than people think. People talk about his inaccuracy. You know why his accuracy was so bad? Because his O-line was horrible, and this dude's playing the SEC every week. I mean, every time they went against somebody like Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, like all these teams he played, their O-line, dude, he was constantly being pressured.
Yeah, Florida State. Yeah, we were getting after him. He was having to move throughout that pocket. Yep.
Yeah, so I think that O-line sucked. I think if this dude gets time, he'll be okay. Now, he's not the most accurate quarterback, but I think he might actually be. I think he might be real good. Now, the cautionary tale, though, that you want to compare him to is Trey Lance. Because remember, Trey Lance was a dude that had all the twos, the running ability, the throwing ability. But he had very little playing experience. And
he still has very little playing experience.
He didn't play. What school did he go to? Is not coming to me.
North Dakota State.
Thank you, North Dakota State. He didn't play a lot there. Whereas like Josh,
yeah, he did play there, but again,
but he only played like maybe 13 or 14 games. He didn't play a lot of games.
It's still a smaller division school too. The level of competition is different.
No, but I'm not talking about I'm just talking about the amount of games.
I'm saying there's a difference, say, between him and Richardson, where Richardson played where he played. That's all I'm saying.
Right, but like because you made the comparison with Trey Lance and like a Josh Allen, where he played in the same competition of teams, but he had a larger body of work. Where
Yeah,
Trey
but
Lance,
Wyoming doesn't play the same people.
no, but Trey Lance, I'm talking about with Josh Allen, the school I forgot the school he
Wyoming.
played for. It was like the same level of competition.
It's not. It's a division above.
Okay. But it's not in a sense that it's not like one of these super conferences. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
it's still a whack, but they still play guys who will be in the NFL one day.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? That's all.
I got you. Yeah.
But again, I think we would know more about Trey Lance if he was healthy. The dude hasn't even been healthy for us to even ever. I mean, what's his third year?
This is 30, but I'm just making a point. Coming out of college, Trey Lance only had like a total like maybe 14 or 15 game experience. Where say just like Anthony Richardson, he's only had 1 year, 1 year of starting QB experience, and he's only won 6 games. So I think that's kind of scaring people off. Anyway, that being said,
see, but that whole winning thing in college, again, and they're in the SEC, and a whole bunch of other teams are way better than they were this year or this past year. So it's not even about winning. What are the intangibles? What can he bring?
Right,
He's very elusive. He's fast. Is he accurate? His accuracy could be a little bit better. What were the receivers? What scheme is he running? Where do you see that he could go in the NFL? It's about projecting at this point. Can he learn? How are his test scores? How did he do at the combine? All those things. I think all those things are leading for me to think that he's going to be the third quarterback pick.
He's going to be third quarterback pick, and I think he's going to the Colts unless CJ Stroud slips to the Colts. But another thing that is pumping up Anthony Richardson too, the S2 cognition test, he did very well on that. And like I said, that measures how fast you can process things. Whereas CJ Stroud allegedly only scored like 18% on that test. So people are really concerned about that. Anyway, I see 5 quarterbacks taking her. I think
in the first round?
In the first round. I think Bryce is going to so I predict that Bryce is going to Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I predict that CJ Stroud is going to whoever has the third pick. I don't know who that's going to be. I think Anthony Richardson will go to the Colts. I think Will Levis is going to the Patriots.
The Cardinals had the third pick.
No, but what I'm saying is whoever has the third pick.
You mean like if the Cardinals trade?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think
the Colts are 4. So you think CJ would drop there, or you think the Texans? I forgot what the Texans did. Did they?
They have to. Right? What I'm saying is, I think CJ is going to if he drops to the Colts will take him. If he doesn't, I think they're taking Anthony Richardson. I think the Patriots are taking Will Levis, and I think Minnesota's taking Hendon Hooker.
Wow. I mean, Minnesota has the 24th. I love Hooker. Like, Hooker is my third quarterback.
Okay.
That I like. But he's coming off a big injury. Tearing that ACL at Tennessee, that was big. They were having a sensational season. Go ahead.
Right. Which is why he's going to Minnesota. Which is why Minnesota is the perfect situation for him, because he doesn't have to rush on the field. They can make sure he's fully recovered, gear him up for next year.
Yeah, well, it depends on what Minnesota's doing. I heard they may be getting rid of some people. I mean, again, this team, what is the potential of Minnesota? So I've heard some things, so we'll see.
Well, that brings me to my next question, Herb. Do you think any current NFL players will be traded on day 1 of the draft?
Yeah, first day, I think so. I feel now again. This is just in my head. I'm not. You're the money person. You know how contracts work. I'm just going by what I hear, or have heard, and what makes sense to me. What makes sense to me is Kirk Cousins going to San Francisco. That makes sense to me.
Oh.
Now, again, how that can work, what will work, how that fits into whatever draft places and stuff, I don't know. Again, speaking of 6th-round picks or later, remember who the starting quarterback was for San Francisco last year. So do you want to put everything on Purdy? Do you want to do a Trey Lance for Kirk Cousins? Because I heard they might want to get rid of Dalvin Cook as well. What is the potential of Minnesota? They're not winning a Super Bowl with that team. So, do you want to start over? Do you want to try something new? You got a young head coach. You know, you got a kind of somewhat veteran team, but I feel like they hit their ceiling already. So, can you get something you might like from Minnesota and trading a Kirk Cousins to San Francisco? I don't see why not. And is it a good win for Kirk? He goes to a situation where there's bigger expectations, but he goes to a locker room full of really good offensive players.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Kirk Cousins contract, and you're right, Herb, because Kirk, this is his last year of fully guaranteed money. His after this year, he has nothing but void years left on his contract, so he could be traded. His cap number this year, let me see, his cap number this year is only $20 million. Oh my gosh, dude, that's that's an ingenious. Yo, I never thought about that. Yo.
Well, I never would have thought about it unless I read it somewhere. Whatever happens for the teams has no consequence to me unless Dallas is trading Herschel Walker. You know what I mean? So, but to me that makes sense. It made like when I was like that really made sense. Like, why wouldn't they do that? You know?
Yo, that's pretty dope, man. Wow. I never thought.
So, so it could be Trey Lance, Minnesota. Minnesota, San Francisco getting back a proven veteran. I wouldn't say great quarterback, proven veteran. Who, if he, believe me, is he a step above Purdy? Maybe. But having Purdy and him compete for the same job, because you don't want to go in, you know, like you talk about Sam Howell. Brock Purdy played a lot more. He did get hurt in that playoff game. But, you know, he led that team down there, but you need someone else to lead that team. Obviously, Garoppolo's gone. So what do you have left? A guy who's been injured and Brock Purdy. So why not get a Kirk Cousins?
Wow, man, that's interesting. Yo, Kirk Cousins is 35, man.
Wow. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of ton of years left. But, you know, I think in that situation could actually make it interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the only one that I really, besides Aaron Rodgers.
I was gonna say, what about Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he gets traded on day 1 or day 2?
I think day 2.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be day 2. Yeah. If I'm the Jets, there is no way in the world I am giving a first round pick this year or a first round pick next year for Aaron Rodgers. My thing is, y'all can keep. If I'm the Jets, yeah, y'all can keep smoking whatever y'all smoking. I ain't giving that up, and I would hold firm to that, Joe. Like that's ridiculous, man. Man, in 11 years, Kirk Cousins, wow, has earned $182 million.
Yeah.
And remember,
off those franchise tags every year.
Yeah, and remember his first 5 years. Well, let me see. No, he really started making money. Yeah, his first 4 years he wasn't making any money. I mean, he was making less than $1 million.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, you remember he got signed of RG3.
Yeah.
So he was like a third or fourth rounder, I believe.
Yep. Oh, my bad. I'm wrong. He's been paid $230 million.
Okay, I thought it was a little bit more than that, but I wasn't 100% sure because I'm not a money person.
Wow. But yeah, man. So he did, man. He made out with these, and all his contracts have been guaranteed, pretty much.
I mean, that dude's made out. Yeah. You know, and hey, you know, all you can say is, "How you like
that?" Yep. Do you think Lamar will be traded?
No, he's not going anywhere.
Okay, Patrick Queen. Do you think the Ravens will trade him on draft day?
I didn't know. Is there an issue with him?
Yeah, he scrubbed all his social media. Basically, he's
what?
So right. So here's the thing, right? It's so stupid. He's pissed off because we traded for Roquan and paid him that money. But the thing is, so he knows he's not going to get paid here. But the thing is, he played his best, right? The best he's ever played once Roquan got here. So to me, it's
what year is he in?
Like he's going into his 4th year.
Okay.
The Ravens probably aren't going to extend his do a 5th year option.
Oh,
right?
really? Okay.
Yeah, because they got Roquan now.
Oh, gotcha.
See what happened was they drafted him to be the middle linebacker of the future. He's been good, But yo, when Roquan got hit, it's like the two of them just meshed so well. It like increased the level of Patrick Queen's play. But the thing is, why would you request to be traded? If anything, play under the Ravens for one more year. You're going to play good with Roquan beside you. Roll out and get paid.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe he's looking at it like, I'm supposed to be the future guy. Everybody knows I'm not. So I need to go now when my value is high. Because again, even if they could have another season and do well, they may look at the film and like, well, he's only been as good since this guy got here.
Yeah.
So maybe he just wants to, stoke the iron while iron's hot. Then we all know once these, millennials scrub the social media, then they need to go. So I didn't even know there was an issue.
Yeah. If I'm the Ravens, there's no way I'm trading him because I'm not going to get a first-round draft. The only way I'll trade him is if I get a second-round draft pick. Because even if he goes and gets paid, they're going to get
the highest value possible.
They're going to get a third-round draft pick as a comp.
Yeah, for a comp, yeah.
So my thing, if I'm the Ravens, I'm not trading that dude. He has no leverage. What you going to do, not play? So
that'll hurt you.
What about Derrick Henry? Do you see him getting traded?
I think they're in a rebuilding mode. I think that's a team that's going to draft a quarterback. Tennessee, they kind of need to.
Yeah.
Where he goes or who needs him, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But they do need to trade him. I don't know where he's going to go, but I do expect him to be traded.
Okay. And who's my last trade dude? Austin Eckler. Do you think he'll be traded?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I know they had some issues. I think it's been kind of quiet these last couple weeks. Like it was real up there, and then they're shopping, and then it kind of died down a lot. I haven't heard any other news coming out of Los Angeles about Austin Eckler at this point. So I think they're going to try to work with him.
Okay. And my last prediction for the draft, to me, this is just the most obvious thing that's going to happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers are terrible. I think I mentioned this before. They're terrible. They're terrible at picking cornerbacks. They're like, for as good as they are picking receivers and as good as we are picking cornerbacks, it's like the complete opposite. They suck at picking corners, but they're excellent at picking receivers. My prediction, and this to me, this is obvious. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to trade up to draft cornerback Joey Porter Jr. To me, that's the most obvious thing that's going to happen. A 6'3" corner. You know what I'm saying? You're the son of a beloved Pittsburgh Steeler player,
Pirate,
who was on Tomlin's coaching staff. I don't know if he's still on the coaching staff, but to me, this is the most obvious thing that's going to happen. We've been hearing rumblings that they've been trying to trade up to the Bears to get their number 9 pick or number 10 pick, and they want Joe. They want a cornerback, and I think it's Joey Porter.
You don't think he would be on the board when they pick?
I think I think what's going to happen is it depends on how the quarterbacks go.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a run on corners.
Okay.
There is going to be a run on corners. I think Pittsburgh knows that, and I think they want Joey Porter Jr. A 6'3" corner, with speed. That's who they want. And so they're going to make that happen. That is my prediction. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to move up to take Joey Porter Jr. with their first pick.
Gotcha. And my prediction is someone will make a stupid pick where we're going to scratch our heads.
Okay. What is your prediction for the Redskins? Who are they going to pick?
Again, the Commanders for the 947th time. That's worse than me saying San Diego. I mean, seriously. I think we're picking. I forgot the offensive tackle's name because it's going to be an offensive tackle, I believe. Who fell? Darnell Wright from Tennessee. That's who I'm thinking.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's a right tackle, long term. We need offensive line help. Now, again, we do need corner, but once your interior is good, everything else falls into place. So that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm looking for. So,
all right. Well, what I want, I don't think this is going to happen, but this is what I want. I want the Ravens to draft Zay Flowers out of Boston. Wide receiver, Boston College.
Yeah, well, he's not going to do well because y'all can't pick him. But they have you picking Emmanuel Forbes.
Cornerback.
Yep, from Mississippi State.
Oh,
no, Mississippi State. Don't say Ole Miss to him. He might fight you.
Mississippi State. Okay.
In Mississippi State. So.
All right, cool.
We'll see. But my main thing is I just want Hendon Hooker. It's the same person coming out the door.
Oh, okay.
You can't tell who this is by now. Dude, sir, I'm on a show. Do you want to go check the door? Go upstairs. Okay, come here. Anyway, so.
Hey, man, it's not our fault that our dogs are interested in the draft, too. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, yeah, well, we did just talk about the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
They got him all riled up, I guess. Like, who's going to be that dog? But Hendon Hooker was probably on his way to a Heisman. So seeing him where he's going to go, I'm interested in, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is he a first day? Is he a second day? It just to me, it just depends on what situation he's going to. Who's go to? Who has time to let him mature, get healthy, and hopefully ball out one day.
Oh, another prediction I have for the Ravens: at some point they will draft Stetson Bennett.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, 35-year-old quarterback from Georgia. The champ. But I think that's it, right? So we got
that's it.
And I will, of course, be live tweeting and
yeah, we got
streaming and TikToking and everything. So now we don't have an NYMD podcast TikTok. I'm on TikTok, but we're doing it'll be everywhere. We're going to be everywhere on draft night. Obviously, Brian has something to talk about for draft night, so we'll see how it goes. I think my main thing next week is Arsenal against Man City on Wednesday. Other than that, I could care less about everything else during the week. So, but thank you everybody for tuning in. NYMD Podcast, StreamYard, and YouTube, as well as all the socials, Facebook, IG, Twitter, not TikTok. So not all the socials. As well as Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you find podcasts, you will find us, the NYMD Podcast, and Max Sparking. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Have a great Earth Day and have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Peace out, y'all.
Yeah.